So our topic was a work in process, improving a Play-Doh process, solids, liquids, and chemical engineering for elementary students. So we're going to start out with an overview of the curriculum. To begin, EiE is Engineering is Elementary, and it integrates engineering with elementary science topics. It makes connections with literacy, social studies, and mathematics as well. And it has 4 primary goals, which are listed below. A unit introduction. So this unit is for 1st and 2nd grade, and that's considered the basic level. There's then sidebars throughout the lesson to allow for modifications for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, and they're considered to be the advanced level. The teacher has the ability to tie in science units as well as add in mathematics and social studies content. A little about the unit is that it guides students through a fun and interesting exploration of solids, liquids, and the outcomes of mixing the two. And students use chemical engineering skills as they realize not only are the materials in the mixture important, but the steps of the process to combine the materials are also critical. There are 4 main lessons that are throughout this unit. The first is a preparatory lesson, which is called Technology in a Bag. The duration is 30 to 40 minutes long. Students will examine everyday examples of technology. They'll discuss how these objects were designed to solve problems and discuss the materials that objects are made of. And there's also an activity. Lesson 1 is Michelle's MVP Award. The duration of this is 90 to 120 minutes, and it's broken along 2 to 3 sessions. Students will read Michelle's MVP Award. They'll discuss processes in an engineering context, be introduced to the chemical engineering field, and identify and or examine engineering design process steps from the story, and there's also an activity. Here is the book that is used. Lesson 2 is Get the Creative Juices Flowing. The duration is 55 to 60 minutes. Students will perform product research to help a juice company decide what color to make their new product. They'll collect and analyze data from a survey, and they'll make a recommendation to the company based on their product research survey results. The activity is also listed. Lesson 3 is All Mixed Up. 55 to 60 minutes is the duration for part 1, and 55 to 60 minutes is the duration for part 2. Students will examine low and high quality Play-Doh. They'll design and test and establish criteria to measure the efficacy of a Play-Doh process, and they'll gather and analyze data about how Play-Doh materials interact when mixed, and there's also 2-part activities here. Lesson 4 is Improving a Play-Doh process. The duration is 40 to 50 minutes for part 1, 40 to 50 minutes for part 2, and 60 to 75 minutes for part 3. Students will use the engineering design process to improve Play-Doh processes, and they'll ask questions about the problem and imagine several ways to improve the process and plan and create a test-improved process. The activity is also listed. There's also a variety of assessments that are used throughout the unit.
So now moving on to the benefits of the curriculum. So the first one is we like the general organization. So there was a curriculum overview, objectives, teacher guide, lesson overview, and a chart, standards, and assessment activities all listed out very organized. This is the example of all the lessons listed out. Then we have the standards and benchmarks from EiE. Next benefit is beneficial connections. So we have recommended science units for tie-in. Background information for chemical engineering is also included. These are the tie-in science content that's provided. And then we have the chemical engineering background pieces. So we also have other additions that we liked. There's a materials list, a unit vocabulary list, and defining engineering terms, and answer keys. This is the materials list, and on the other page, there's even an allergy note. Then we have the vocab definitions for engineering. And then we have an example of one of the answer keys. Last one is connections to reading material / the real world is something we like. So on page 41, this lesson includes an opportunity to talk with the students about common stereotypes related to Down syndrome. And this comes from what we learned in the storybook. So this is what it's given, and there's even Down syndrome links to look up as well for more information. Then we have concerns of the curriculum. So the first is it's a little bit cluttered. The standard section and benchmarks listed are a little long, especially for lesson 3 and 4, and it seems excessive. The reading questions also to pose during the book seem to be a lot, where it could even slow down the lesson. So we already showed the standards list, but these are the during reading questions, which you can see is an excessive amount. And then we also have some outdated materials. So page 20 has a CD where maybe you can find something on YouTube that would be more logical to show for the time. So we also have, it's a little too time consuming and challenging. So in lesson 2, another class is invited to come participate in a survey, which may take up too much time. And then the students are asked to write a report and letter to the president of the company, which could be too challenging for the grade level. And this is the example of what's in that lesson with the juice company. And then what the students are asked to do. Final thoughts. We like the teacher notes and advanced lessons placed throughout, but it clutters the pages too much. The lessons are specific and hard enough already with all the additional things added. And with the last lesson, it seemed to be too many reflection questions, and it's a little unnecessary and repetitive. And this shows those final reflection questions. Thank you.